of the rural population made up of the youth. I think we need to work more extensively on that. We don't have all the solutions, but I think if we put our heads together, we may find that there are significant opportunities to build on the potential of the youth to do more in the rural areas and get them away from the social challenges which they could introduce should they not be active players in development. Where are these new opportunities for sustainable rural development and agricultural transformation? The first and most significant is that agriculture is probably one of the few sectors in this modern time that has the transformative power to change and to have high multiplier effects. It is very effective for the rural poor, and we see this time and time again from the evaluations, from the supervision mission reports, from the studies that we engage in the field, that agriculture has the greatest potential for transformation of the lives of the rural poor. The potential is huge. You can see from this graph here, the current average yields in Africa is about 2 tons per hectare, average. There are some countries that have reached about 7 or 8. I was in Rwanda a couple of weeks ago, and they confirmed that the yields of rice in the lowlands, irrigated rice, have gone up to about 7 tons per hectare. This is nearly equivalent to the yields in China, which is about average 8. It is far better. Thank you. It is far better than the yields in India, which is about 4 tons per hectare. And I saw and I read the same degree of statistics from yields of cereals or rice in Mozambique, which is getting in some very localized spots far greater than 5 or 6 tons per hectare. So the potential is there. The agriculture transformation capacity for the crops that we grow and we engage in Africa to do more and better. We may struggle to get to about 10 tons per hectare, which is the average yield in the United States of America. But I think if we continue on that trend, we will be able to capitalize on the huge potential of agriculture to increase and double the yields. Where does IFAD sit in all of this? We have a number of comparative advantages. Indeed, at the time, at all these difficulties, and I did mention it earlier, the West is struggling, IFAD still has the ability to leverage millions of dollars. And I share with you today that our lending program for the next 2 years, I'll come back to that, will be increased from the previous 3 years, and to mobilize resources to benefit the rural poor in the countries that we work with. We are going to increase our portfolio to about 1.5 billion US dollars. There are not very many institutions that can come to the table today to say that we have a portfolio that is active and dynamic to the tune of about 1.5 billion US dollars. We thank all those that have supported IFAD, and you have certainly contributed to that because you have demonstrated that you're making good use of the resources made available to bring about this transformation that is taking place in the rural sector. We have a strategy to bring scale, to upscale, to do more and to do better, to have more impact on ground. We are favoring, and indeed at an accelerated pace, the decentralization of our activities to the field. We have today 7 or 8 country offices. We want to do more, but before we do more, we'd like to consolidate the gains that we have made through decentralization and make sure that these 7 or 8 country offices are better equipped, staffed, and with good facilities to do more and better. Us to lead the way in agriculture and rural development to the benefit of the most unfavorable conditions of the rural poor landscape. With knowledge, my colleague Robson mentioned this morning, we have accumulated a lot of experience and knowledge in the past, and we need to build on that. Technologies as well as processes are available to do more and better. We need to manage it better. We need to ensure that the capacity to diffuse the innovations and to manage the knowledge that we have is more systematically used. A rural development strategy. The president of IFAD insists and regularly reminds us it has to be country-driven. Gone are the days that we will drive rural strategies from missions that come from Rome or Washington or London or Paris to drive the rural agenda in the countries. The countries themselves will have to drive their own development. And I quote President Kanaya, Africa should not wait for the international community to solve its problems. And indeed, what I heard today from the introductory remarks was that Africa is not waiting for the international community. They are leading the way. Ethiopia is leading the way. So well done. Evidence-based, thank you. Evidence-based, conducive policy for agriculture transformation. Again, we see that regularly. I was in Kenya 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I was invited to make a presentation to a forum on the agriculture sector strategy. And it was chaired by the president of Kenya. And to my full satisfaction, I see that the policies that the government of Kenya are putting in place, that they are following, that they are managing, is driven by the Kenyans. It is led by the Kenyans and with results and impact which the Kenyans will appreciate. So we give full support to this conducive policy development environment that is going to give results and impact on ground. There is an increasing and strong popular coalition, purposeful coalition of pro-poor, focusing on rural youth and women and addressing climate change. In other words, the international community as well as the national communities are getting together, realizing that this coalition of effort is necessary to bring this to scale and to get more results in a more conducive manner. The rural development strategy, or the strategy that we will pursue for the next couple of years, rests on 3 pillars. The main and the central one is agricultural growth and sustainable natural resource management. Alone, it will not be enough. So we need 2 extra pillars to support this centrality of action on smallholder agriculture. The other 2 concern non-farm rural enterprise development and capacity building and institutional support. Agriculture alone in the rural space will not be sustainable, will not be able to transform the rural landscape that we desire, because you need far more infrastructure. You need far more rural support services, private sector engagement, access to finance. We need more functioning rural institutions, favorable environment for investment and regulatory framework. We need to strengthen the rural poor and their organizations. We are doing a good job, but I think we need to do more and better. This agenda of action is consistent. We have not changed, we have not flickered, we have not moved. And indeed, this was reminded by our colleague representing the United Nations Resident Coordinator. IFAD has been in this for a long time, and we take great pride in doing so. It is consistent. We are persistent in the challenge, but there are things that we need to do slightly differently, and I'll come back to that. The national policy analysis and processes, we need to build on the existing. We need strong government buy-in, and indeed we have. The case of Ethiopia comes to mind. Country presence is strengthening. We need stronger country program management teams to make it happen. The competitiveness of IFAD development model is very high, and we need to build on that. We need, and I come back and I will repeat it again and again, we need more collaboration, we need more extensive partnerships. We are good at it, but we can do significantly more and better. Governments, donors, stakeholders active in the rural space want us to accompany them, and we want to accompany them. We are very proud and pleased